everybody, Deland from Handmade Woodworking. If you saw my video on how to make drink coasters out of a fence picket, I suggested keeping this piece of scrap aside because I was going to show you what you could make with it. So today I'm going to show you how to make soap holders with it. Basically, I had already used the piece that I had in the previous video, so I went ahead and cut another one. But I cut this one about 29 inches long. So depending on how you cut up your pickets for your drink coasters, just have a piece about 29 inches long, and we'll get at it. So I have a stop block set up to where I'm going to cut these down into 5.5 inch pieces. Should give me 5 pieces per section. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get that going. I know you're thinking, soap holders? Who wants soap holders out of wood? Well, it actually works really well. So let's get to it. Like I said, stop block set up for 5.5 inches. Makes it much safer, much quicker, and easier to cut. Just be careful when you're lifting the blade because it gets trapped in there and it'll kick out at you. Now that we've got our 5 pieces cut, what I like to do is come over here to the sander and hit each face of it just to smooth it up, make it easier for gluing up. Now, you don't have to have a belt sander. You can use a palm sander, sandpaper. I just like to clean it up to glue it up. Also, I try to hit the end grain a little bit, so when we're matching up the end grain for these, you will be able to see which direction the end grain is going. So that's it. No time at all. You've already got the scrap piece. It took all of about 2 minutes, if that, to cut this on the miter box. Took all of a minute, minute and a half to sand these. So we're ready to glue up and then come back when we cut the edges off and get ready to cut the end grain. Okay, I'm back inside. Don't mind the mess. Like I said in the last video, we're doing some updates to the kitchen and stuff. So for the glue up, this is gonna glue up just about the same way as the drink coasters. But what I want you to pay attention to, you have the wide side, you have the narrow side. So what I'm gonna do is, I want to line up the end grain with the shortest side, okay? And by doing that, when you match up the end grain, you should get almost a matching book cover type of end grain.
Come on, pick it up, you slowpoke.
And I will show you what I mean when I get this put together. And that's why sanding these beforehand is fairly important, because you want to really match them up the best you can, or figure out what design you want with these when you're doing them. Now I know this is fairly remedial, just cutting and gluing, and that's kind of the point. We get so much in a hurry to make these big projects that we forget the little cool ones that we can make. So let me zoom this in real quick, and I'm going to try and show you what I mean about the end grain. Alright, so I can't zoom on my camera. That sucks. But anyways, you can kind of see what I'm talking about as far as matching up the end grain. You'll really be able to see it when it's glued up and done. So basically what I do with this is I flip forward, flip forward, flip forward, flip forward, and then I glue up the surfaces. Gotta love a brand new bottle of glue. And yeah, I'm probably putting a lot on here, but I want to make sure they hold together. So now I'm just simply going to flip back, flip back, flip back. And remember, parchment paper. You've got to go with the parchment paper. So now they're together. Going to butt up the ends the best we can. And they're probably going to slide a little bit when you clamp them, which is fine. We actually made these a little bit longer than what we're going to need, because what we're eventually going to do is resaw these to use the end grain as the top. So I'm just going to clamp them enough pressure to start seeing some squeeze out. Pushing them down in the middle as we're clamping to try and keep them flat. Saves for less sanding later. And that's it. Don't forget wet paper towel to wipe your glue up. Hold on to your parchment paper and lift. Peels right off. Clean the glue up off of this side. Let them dry. Now, the glue on the parchment paper. Here's the thing. Don't throw this away. Once this glue dries, you can peel it off like dead skin and reuse this piece of parchment paper. So, let's wait for it to dry.
And then 2 hours later...
Alright, so one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning, this strip that we're working with should have been around 7/8 inch thick when you come out of cutting the board. So what we're doing is I have the table saw set up for the same thickness, so it should somewhat resemble a square. And I'm simply going to put this into the table saw and make passes to make 5 strips, which we are then going to flip the end grain up, match up our end grain, and then re-glue. So I may show you a little bit of that, but not the whole glue up, just the premise, because you've already watched me glue up stuff today. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut and get it going. So we have our 5 blocks that I'm going to take over to the sander real quick, just get resanded, hit the end grains again, and get them cleaned up, and then we're going to get ready for gluing. Be right back. Alright, I'm back inside, getting ready to get this glued up. I got it sanded, cut down, so we're starting to take shape. If you can see, starting to look like a dish holder. So I'm not going to bore you with the glue up of this, but what I do want to show you is when you glue this, you want the end grain to be up. And here's what I was saying about the design. Now this isn't glued up, so it's gonna move a little bit, but can you see the pattern from the end grain? That is what we're going for. So when you cut your pieces up to flip the end grain, pay attention to how you put them back, because how you put them back is how you get that pattern, which is really going to pop when you finish them. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to get this glued up again, and then we're going to be on to the final process of finish sanding and staining, and I'll be back to show you that. And that's it. Now I'll take it in the house, sand it down, get it finished, and as you can see, it's got the chamfered corners on it, so I'm just going to round those over and kind of see how the pattern's coming out. The front. Alright. Alright, so we have it all sanded smooth, got the corners rounded off a little bit, and if you can see, it's a soap dish. Pretty simple. Now, what I'm going to show you is how I finish it, which is really easy. I've got some bees oil, and I basically just take a piece of paper towel, get some bees oil on it, and I'll do a couple of coats. But I want you to see how that pattern really comes to life with the bees oil. Now let it sit on there 20-30 minutes so it really gets in there and gets a chance to penetrate, and then I'll rub it in, put another coat on it, and that way it just kind of helps the cedar to protect it a little bit more. Cedar is natural, resistant to water and rot, so taking these little steps will help it and keep it preserved. My thoughts are, every once in a while, just throw some wax on it or some cutting board oil, and it should be fine. Because what you're doing with this, basically a wax paste, is you're sealing up the end grain. So I really like to get quite a bit in there. But just to show you how much darker it got, and that looks nice. On the camera, I don't know if you can tell, but this is a really nice tan. The end grain's really popping, a dark red, dark brown. So this is something that I think, you guys would enjoy and try and do. But other than that, thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, comment. Love seeing the comments. And let me know if you make one, because these are pretty cool. Have a good day.